Okay. In the previous videos, we spoke about the security groups and the folders and how to do them technically. So technically, it's a simple process. I can create the folder, then create the security groups, access to whatever the folder name read, access to whatever the folder name read write. Then I will assign the permission to those two groups on the sharing of the folder. Then I can add people and remove people. The problems come up to the point of who have the right to give these approvals. Good. So if I get an email as a help desk from somebody's name, John, and John says, can I have access for the folder invoices? So John wants access to the folder invoices. So if I go to my tools and in Active Directory, and sorry, this is not the one. So if I go to tools, I go to users. Good. I go to the invoices folder and members. He's not there. Should I add join here? Of course not. Who can approve this? It's definitely not the IT man job. It's not IT job to decide who can access what. The one who decides this is what we call it the owner of the information. So every organization, they have owners for this information. So for example, who is the owner of the employees' information? Good. They are HR. HR is the one that owns the information of the employees because they're the one collected and they're the one responsible for it and they're the one who handle it. So it's HR who handle this stuff. Who is the owner of the student information and the student grades in the university here? It is the student services office. Good. Those the office are responsible for handling student. So when somebody want to see the date of birth of the student, for example, he just want to have a math calculation about what is our student age and variety. He can ask IT to tell him, sorry, I cannot give you this until you talk to student services to give you the permission to do that. Good. So you will call student services. When they says yes, they says yes. But that's what we call it the owner. So, but for us as an IT, how do we do it? So let's say today I got an email from somebody saying I want to create a folder, and that folder I want to call it, let's call it Team 5, good, or Project 5. So when he sent me the request and he says I want to create that folder and call it Project 5, I will ask him who is the owner of that Project 5? Who is the guy who supposedly managing that Project 5? Good. He will tell me the owner is Mr. David Williams, for example. Good. So I will get that for him in a few minutes. So I get that request to create Project 5. So I will create the folder Project 5 as usual. Project 5. I will go here. I'll create the two security groups. New group. I will call it, sorry, just to show it for you from where? From tools, from users. Good. And from under users, I go to the OUs that I'm keeping my security permission groups in it. Here's my security permission group. I'm keeping it here. Then I will create the new groups. So new group, I will call it access to project files R. Good. And then I create another one. New group as well. Access to project file RW. Good. Then I will go to my folder, Project 5, right-click, Properties, Sharing, and then give it the access to these two groups, the read-write and the RW, and do the reading, writing in the right way like this. Done. Now, how do I put the owner? Now, putting the owner, there's two different ways, but we'll take the easiest one now, and the more detailed one or the more professional, we'll talk about it later on in the different stage. But it's very simple. I'll come to these two OUs here, to these two, sorry, not OUs, security groups. I will double click on it, go to properties, and under the notes, I will write here, owner David Williams. Good. Not only owner, I can add something extra, says approvers. Sarah, Ali, Reem, Ansari. And I can add the names of people who can approve. Of course, with the approval of the owner. The owner will tell me, we, the three of us, can approve these kind of people who can access this. So I'll copy this from here. And then I'll copy it, I put it on this as well here. So now they are inside the OU. So let's say after 6 months from today, somebody send an email to the help desk. Ahmad sent an email to the help desk, says, I want to have a read-write access to project 5. Oh, sorry, you see my mistake. I didn't call it project 5 even. So project 5. Project 5. And then I will change this one. Rename to project 5 RW. And then project 5 RW. Okay. So now after 5 months, somebody called me, says, I want to read-write access to that project or the project 5. I'll come here. I don't know. It's not me who did it. It's somebody else did it 5 months ago. I'll open the group and I will look here and I'll see who's the owner. Then I will email Mr. Ahmad. I'll tell him, you have to get this folder is owned by Mr. David Williams or Sarah Ali or Reem Ansari. Please contact them for their approval. Once you get the approval, send us the email. We'll be happy to join your group to that folder. That way, he will email David or he email Sarah and he get approval from David or Sarah and reply back to me and says, here is your approval. Please do it. Good. And in that case, I'll just join him to the domain. So this is how I define the owner. There is another way of defining that owner in the under the managed by option here, where I can put the account from the list of the accounts. For example, I can put Hassan as the owner here as a user, but that's a different story. We'll talk about it at the other time. Good. So for now, I just want to talk about very simple concept. You can put it this way. So whenever somebody contacted help desk in the future, help desk will just open it, see who's the owner. Imagine how bad is it for the HR folder right now. HR folder, there is an owner here. Sorry. Invoice, there is no owner. So I don't know who's the owner. So if somebody email me at Hassan, I will be in a big issue until I find out who's the owner. And yes, unfortunately, in some businesses, people were doing this because it's the IT guys knows everybody, and then the IT guys leave, new IT guy come, and like, I don't know who is doing this. So that's why it's very recommended you write the owners in here. Good. There is one also example or one extra point that is very, very critical for you guys. It's not an IT issue, it's a business concept issue. What we call it, what happens if the guy is not here? So let's say the invoice folder is owned by Hassan Odi. He is the owner. He didn't add any other approver, so it's the owner as the system says here, Hassan Odi. Good. So I got an email from Sarah, says, can you please add me to the invoice folder? So I look up the access to group, I open it, I find that it's Hassan Odi. I told Miss Sarah, yeah, you have to get approval from Mr. Hassan Odi. So Sarah replied back to me, yes, I called Hassan Odi, he's not in his office, and he sent me an out of office reply, says he is on vacation in Japan. You remember, yeah, he's on vacation in Japan for like 5 weeks and he will never respond to his email. He says, nobody bother me, please, I'm having the best vacation ever. Good, and it's very critical, it's very important, I want access right now. Wallahi, me as an IT guy cannot do anything. He own it, you deal with him. But I don't care, you are the IT guy, the sky is falling, the university will stop working if I don't have access. Good, we don't give access, even if the excuse that she give what excellent. One of you yesterday was telling me, one of the students yesterday was saying, oh, we can give her access for 2 weeks until Hassan come back, then we decide. No way. The information in that folder could be catastrophically disastering, could be top secret, could be confidential, could be the nuclear weapon launching codes of I don't know what. I don't give that. Good? IT doesn't do that. So what happened when Hassan is not here? We goes to Hassan manager. Logically in the business, it's acceptable that if Hassan have the power to do something, his manager should have the same power. Good? He is his manager. And what happens if my manager is not there? You go to the manager. And you keep going up until you hit the big boss. That's the way to secure it. Unless your organization have a different idea, says, you know, if the guy is not here, his secretary can approve. Whatever the big boss says, I will do at the end. But for the beginning of the concept, in general, if somebody is asking you for a permission and this guy is not here, you talk to his manager. So let's say somebody want to enter my office. The security came and says, I want to enter the office. Security will tell him, talk to Hassan. Good. And if I told the security let him in, he will let him in. Then if I'm not here and the guys want to come in, security cannot go to my neighbor. The guy sitting next to me says, can we enter Hassan office? Of course that shouldn't happen. They will go to my manager. hey, Mr. Lee, can you let this guy go to Hassan office? My manager knows the situation. He can say yes or no. Good. If Mr. Lee is not there, they go to the dean. If the dean is not there, they go to the vice president and up to the chain. Okay, so this is what we call it, the ownership or the security of the groups. How we control the security of the group and how we know who should get access to. Now, one last point. When the guy emailed me to create project 5 for him, we usually create what we call it a form or a request form to avoid playing ping pong with the employee. And you know what the ping pong mean, like bang, bang, bang from one table to the other table? We hate that in the business. User will send, can I create a folder? We reply back to him. What's the name of the folder? He reply back, says, it's project 5. Okay, we reply back, who's the owner? He says, Sarah. We reply back, do you want to put anybody else than Sarah? He says, like, what do you mean by anybody else other than Sarah? Oh, I mean, if Sarah is not here, somebody else will approve. Oh, yes, put Muhammad. Then we reply back to him, says, and we spent our 50 emails playing this ping pong match between me and the user until I get all the information. That's why we usually create a proper form, either online or Word or PDF or whatever. The form will ask, what's the folder name? How many users will access that folder? Who are the users who will have access? Do you want to give them read access or read write access? And we explain what's the difference between read and read write, so the user don't have to even call us, ask us. Read access means the user can open the folder, can look what's inside, can see the files, can copy the files, but they cannot actually add any files. While read write, he can write, he can delete, he can do this stuff. Good. Who's the owner? Who's the co-owner or the approvers? The approver job is blah 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 blah. The owner job is blah 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 blah, and we give them the box. So we build excellent form, so that when we send that form to the user will fill it, send it back to us. In one email, we have every single details we want, and the user don't even have to ask us question because the form is really good. If the users are calling you and asking you questions even after you send them the form, that simply means your form is bad. That means you have to fix your forms. I don't want to say it, but I've been in an argument before with people where they says, no, the form is good, the users are, you know the word. Good. I don't care if the user is not smart enough for your form. That means your form is not good, easy enough for the user. You have to make the form in a way that the users or the normal users can understand it. If you have to do it in Arabic and English, do it in Arabic and English. If you have to do it in Arabic and English and Urdu and Hindu and all the language, I don't care. You are doing this to save your team, the IT team, a headache. It's your responsibility as an IT guy to make a form that if you email it to the user from one shot, he can answer all the questions right and give it back to you. If your form doesn't do that, that means something wrong with the form. Go fix it. Good. Thank you very much, and we'll talk about it later, inshallah.